Welcome to Lake Palo Pinto Fire Department, Station 2. Welcome to our next video in a series of training videos that we're putting together. Don Woodward's doing the filming. And today we're going to do a video on brush truck 1505. And so I want to take you just kind of through the basics of the fundamentals of the truck. And as you can see, it's the only truck we have that has dual cabs, so we can take 5 firefighters in this truck. And the truck itself is a diesel. Inside, the keys, when they're not in the ignition, we keep up here on the dashboard. And so it starts up just like a regular truck. Insert the key. And it starts up just like any other vehicle. Inside here are 4 toggle switches that are auxiliary. The first toggle switch is up, and that controls the radio. That is on at all times. These are off. These control the outside lights, the overhead lights, the emergency lights, and so they are only flipped on when we are on our way to a scene. Here's the headlights. And down here is a switch that activates our auxiliary lights in the front, which we use when we're out on scene, particularly at night. It gives us just a little bit extra light going off to the side. In the center here is a large flashlight, which comes in handy. And all the other, I'll come back later and show you the 4-wheel drive system. Everything else is just pretty much like a regular truck. Okay, so now we're gonna look here in the back of the back seat of the truck. Behind the seats are headsets. And there's 4 headsets, and if we're ever called out to a scene where we got 5 in this truck, we grab an extra headset off of 1501 in there, so that everybody has a headset. And these work. The hard strap here goes behind your head, and the control is right here on the side. That turns the radio on. And it'll say 5, because this is 1505. And then if you want to broadcast through the radio, there's a button on this side of the headset that you push in, and you can transmit over the radio. So we plug these in. Each one of these headsets has a plug. And so it's constantly charging. So we want to make sure we have them off when we put them in here. And then they hang right there. And I'll show you the other side as we get around the truck. We've got some equipment on that side of the truck. This is a drop down. And this is where, when we're out on the brush fire, most of the time we have 2 people, one on each drop down. Here in the middle, we've got some cones that we store right here in case we need those out onto, like we're out on the road, we need to direct traffic around something. We've got some cones right here. We've got some, this isn't rescue rope, but it's rope we use, like if you needed to drop a tool down to somebody, or just needed rope for some purpose. We've got that right here. This is the whip line, and the control of it is up here. We keep it off, and you turn it on whenever you're getting ready to use the whip line. Here's an access to the water tank. You can actually jump up and actually see about where the water level's at. if you want to physically check the water level. Behind this box is a bag here that is the FRO, the first responders medical bag, and that's got all of their equipment in it. And we're a little bit limited in space on this truck, so right now that's where we're storing it. And it's worked out so far okay so far. In this bin, we've got lighters here for the drip torch. We've got a hose clamp if we have to clamp off a hose to add another line or another nozzle. We've got a bin here with extra connections on it if we need to splice down to a smaller hose. We've got a valve here, a Y valve. Got two Y valves in there. In this bin, we've got water supply valve. We've got some extra nozzles. Got some zip ties, which come in handy. We got a pipe wrench back there. We've got a this nozzle here is a foam nozzle that we will use if we have occasion to need foam. This is the control. We keep the control here for the winch, and I'll show you how that hooks up here in a little bit. And we've got a toolbox with just some hand tools in it. On this side, we have 6 radios, and we've gone to this system of just keeping the radios on the truck. I know I was guilty of it. Everybody, you get a fire call, you get to the, you come down here to report, and you've left your radio at home. So we've got them all on the truck here. So everybody, before they get in the truck to deploy to the site, they grab a radio, put it in your pocket. Don't turn them on until we get to the scene. Hose reel, red line. We're going to deploy one of these here in a little bit and show you how the automatic reel winds the hose back up. This is the drip torch that we'll use if we're doing like a controlled burn and we need to get a fire going. And the yellow can up there is the drip torch fuel. It's a mixture of gas and diesel. This red hose here is our fill line. If we pull up to one of the fill lines, the flush valves, we hook this up, and this is the intake. So we hook up one line of this to the flush valve, and then this line to the intake. This is a discharge, a 1-inch discharge. You can see the valve is off. It's always kept off. This is a line for that reel, and it's on and always stays on. This is the valve for the tank refill. It's always on. And there's a circulation valve in here that's always on. Got a 5.5 or a 1.5 discharge here that's off, and a 2.5 discharge that stays off until we hook a line on there. We've got our tools here. This is for the water meter to turn that on. These are your spanner wrenches to release connections. Usually you need those to undo the connection, not to put them together. We put them together hand tight. A lot of times you need these to undo them. This is our pump motor, and it is fueled by this gas tank here, and it is regular gasoline. And we're going to demonstrate turning that on in just a little bit in another segment of this video. We've got panel lights here that in the dark you can turn these on and you can see the panel here, and some additional lights over here on the side. Up on top we've got 1.5 inch hose here and a 1 inch hose back at the top. In this slot right here, we've got our flappers that we'll use out on the brush fire. We store them right here in between the reel and the tank. Got another reel here, and this is the one we're going to deploy here after a while and show you how it rolls back up. Up on top in this tray is we've got 2 shovels, we've got a sledgehammer, we've got a bolt cutter, we've got a couple rakes, we've got a chainsaw, and in this can here is a chainsaw bar oil and chainsaw fuel. Here we've got our cooler, and we've got water in there. And before you leave the station, just grab it. We've got an ice chest in there with bags of ice. Throw a bag of ice in there and it's ready to go. And this side we've got another drop down, and we will demonstrate that here shortly. And then on this side in the rear, we've got safety vests. We have a bag here that's for the first responders, and this is a bag just to move a person. If they're in a tight spot, you can get this underneath them, and it's got handles all the way around the bag. We've got a set of jumper cables down here. We've got some chainsaw tools, and we've got a bag here with 2 smoke masks in it. And I would highly encourage everybody to play with their equipment. You're going to have a smoke mask. About everybody has a smoke mask like this that you can put on. But if you're in the drop down, you're going to have a smoke mask. You're going to have your goggles pulled down. You can use the smoke mask if you want, but we'll also have the headset on, and then your helmet. So it takes some time just to play with these to see what's going to work best for you. Because sometimes it is heavy smoke when you're in the drop down. Now on this side in the glove compartment, we've got these filters that actually screw on to the side of those smoke masks. So you put that smoke mask on, there's actually a vent on each side where you can put these filters on to help filter out the smoke. We've got a temperature gun here. And so on around this side, here is our winch. And I will get the controls to that winch. So here's the controls. I showed you over there in this toolbox where we keep the control. Down behind the brush guard here is the box, the winch box. You plug this in right there to this slot right there. once you plug that in and you turn it, and then you've got in and out. And then this silver control over here controls which direction that the cable's going to move. Down, it freewheels out, and then up is you use control to get it in. So that's occasionally we've used the winch up here, but just wanted to let you know we do have it up here. It's functional, and the controls is over there in the toolbox. So as stated earlier, the truck does have four-wheel drive, but it's the old style where the hubs are you have to manually lock and unlock the hubs. So when you leave to go to a scene and you know it's going to be off-road, you turn these hubs on, and then when you get out of the field, you turn them back to free. Once you turn them on, if you lock them in, drive to the scene, when you get there, before you leave to the pavement to go out in the field, here's your shifter down here. And right now it's in 2 high. You can leave it in 2 high with the hubs locked in. But when you get out in the field, you want to put it in 4-wheel drive. So you put it in neutral, and you can shift this back to 4 high, 4 low, whatever you need. And that's how that works. But the main thing is you got to remember when you turn them on, when you're finished with them, you need to turn them off. And it's not a good idea to have those on if you're driving 20 miles on the highway. If you're driving 20 miles on the highway, after you leave the highway to go out into the field, that's when you want to lock those hubs in. Okay, we're going to demonstrate for you now. This will be the series of events that you'll do when you get your fire call. Your pager goes off, you respond to station 2. Some people have their gear at home and they'll put it on there. A lot of people have their gear inside the station. It doesn't really matter. It's just whatever you want to do, however it works best for you. So in this case, Karen and I both had our equipment at home. We suited up. We arrive at the station. We're the first ones here. So you've got to have your key with you. That's rule number 1. You got to be able to get into the station. And there's a deadbolt up the top. And then the key here for the handle. Open up the door, flip the light on, and then proceed over.
I'll get the door, Richard.
Okay. And open up the overhead door.
Make sure you get it locked in here so it doesn't slide back down.
Yep. And we keep the truck on a battery tender. And here's the battery tender. You need to unplug that. And close the hood. And pull the truck out of the stall. So you pull the truck out of the bin. If you're already suited up, there'll be others that are in here getting suited up. While they're suited up, when you're all ready to go, we're going to start up the pump and let it run for just a little bit just to make sure everything is good with the pump. We have a ways to go to get to this fire, so we're just going to start at the pump and then turn it back off. And Karen's going to demonstrate turning the pump on.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you've got this valve opened up so that you're getting gas to the pump. The next thing that you need to do is throttle this out. We prefer that you throttle it out and not pull it. And then when you get ready to start it, you just want to pull the choke and turn the key. And then we'll throttle it out to where we need it to be. Get ready to shut it down. What you need to do is throttle it down, and then we turn the gas back off. And then it will slowly throttle down and kill itself.
Okay, so we started the pump, we shut it off because we know we got a ways to go. Next thing we got to do is each person is given 3 par tags. We need to put a par tag over on the board under 1505. We need to put a par tag in the cab of the truck on the board there on the passenger side. And then we will retain one tag. I keep mine on my belt loop right here. And you keep one on your person.
I typically keep one tag over here and then just place it over here.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. Okay, we just put our par tags on the board back there on the inside. Everybody else is gearing up. While they're doing that, I'm going to walk around the truck and do a visual inspection of the truck. Now I'm going to start right here and make sure our pump tank is full of gasoline. Because this pump, when we're out on scene, is going to be running nonstop. We do not carry any extra gasoline on this, but this runs for a long time if the tank is full. I'm going to check the water level. I'm going to turn this on and check the water level lights and make sure our water level is high. I'm going to visually inspect the tires. I come down every Tuesday and do this exact same thing. Check the tire pressure and check the truck over. But it's still a good idea before we take off to walk around and just inspect everything. Looks like everything is good to go, and we will proceed from here. Okay, so everybody's ready to go. We got we put our par tags in there. Today it's going to be just Karen and I. So before we take off, the last thing you do is grab a radio. As crew chief, I have a radio. Karen needs to grab one. And Karen's going to be the driver, and I'm going to be the passenger. Palo Pinto SO. This is brush truck 1505 from Lake Palo Pinto. We received the call and we're responding to the fire. Okay, we've arrived at the fire, and we called into the IC, and they are operating off of Fire Channel 21. So we're on FireNet 21, and we're going to deploy a red line and a whip line.
And we've left the truck running for safety reasons in case we need to get back in the truck at any point. Our truck is ready and we don't have to worry about it starting again. So in order to start this, we'll go ahead and get going.
Then to reel this red line back up, the button is right here that operates the reel. And you put one hand on there and you put one hand on this, and you just feed it through.
Nozzle up.
So before we actually start up the pump and deploy these lines, I just wanted to go over this nozzle right here. This is a common frustration point. The nozzle does not turn with this black rubber at the end. You need to grab the nozzle right here and you turn this portion of it to turn it on and then to turn it off. And it just seems natural to turn here, but pretty much all the nozzles we have on this truck are the same way. So just remember to turn right there. Okay, we've arrived back at the station from the fire scene, and before we back the truck back in, we're going to kind of walk around it and just check the truck over. We're going to look at the tires, make sure there's not any visible damage to the tires. We're going to check our fuel tank up here, our gasoline that fuels the pump. And inside, back of the station there, we've got a red can, a 5-gallon can that's full of gasoline. And we will refill this, the pump tank, and we'll check our water level. We actually, in this case, we didn't use much water, but we always want to check that. We will make sure that our headsets were returned back to the back seat and they're off and plugged in, and our radios are in, charging up. And then we'll back the truck into the stall. We will pop the hood and re-hook up the battery charger. Okay, we've backed the truck into the stall, and before I exit, I pulled the keys out, put them up here on the dash, and right here is the hood release. You want to pop the hood, make sure everything is secured in here, the radio and all that. And then to pop the hood the rest of the way, if you get right down here, there's a yellow release latch. And you got to get down here to see it. But once you see it, you can feel it. You pull it towards you, and then you can open up the hood. And then you reattach the battery tender. And on our Tuesday morning checks, We usually check the batteries over, we'll check the oil, we'll check, just visually inspect everything, pull the transmission oil, check that. And so by doing that every week, and then when we get back from a fire scene, we know the truck is ready to go because we never know when we're going to get the next call.